All right, everyone, a good evening to you. I'm forecaster Nick Dunn here for the Bell Park Weather Network. We are tracking a severe thunderstorm warning that has currently been issued for portions of LaGrange County and Elkhart County in north central Indiana. We're tracking a severe thunderstorm capable of producing large hail to ping pong ball size. So that is kind of getting into that category where it's a little bit more on the destructive side of things. That severe thunderstorm warning is highlighted here in this orange box. As you can see here, this includes Goshen up to about LaGrange, and then it does cross into portions of Berrien and Cass counties in southern Michigan as well. If you have any followers up in that neck of the woods, if you have any family members, you may want to let them know what's coming up their way. So we're tracking this thunderstorm here near Goshen. It has a really solid return of large hail on it. That is moving off to the northeast at speeds at about 60 miles per hour. That'll be crossing into Elkhart, Middlebury near Shipshewana. Goshen, and then crossing into southern Michigan here probably within the next 20 to 25 minutes tops. This warning does go until 8 o'clock tonight again, and it is for ping pong ball size hail and that potential of seeing some gusty winds, but not quite to severe criteria. Let's kind of zoom in because we are seeing a concentrated area of lightning right here in the Wakarusa area, and in fact, that's really very deep purples here. And so when we see this, as I mentioned a little earlier in our last update, the storm that we were tracking at that time had a very dark and deeper purple signature, and as that continues to slide off towards the northeast, that's our hail core right there, and that is the storm that has prompted the warning. Understand that if you do live in other portions of Elkhart and LaGrange County, and then, it's going to be DeKalb and St. Joseph County in south central Michigan, there are some other thunderstorms out ahead and even outside of the polygon that we're going to have to kind of watch and see what happens with them. But right now, I'm not seeing anything overly substantial in terms of a severe risk with them. Just this guy right here to the north of Napanee there, right around Wakarusa, seeing some potentially large hail. And again, that is crossing off to the northeast. We don't have any other active watches or warnings, at least for right now. That may change in the next little while. Real quick, also down into the Fort Wayne metro, if you have our Bell Park Weather Network app, you're likely seeing some of the notifications that are really cool to get for lightning and other rain and storms moving into the area. But this storm is not severe, but it is packing a punch. Lots of lightning just on that storm alone, about 200 lightning strikes in just the last 20 minutes. So if you're in Fort Wayne and tracking off towards the northeast, this will eventually cross over into Defiance and Paulding counties here within the next 15 to 25 minutes. So just kind of be prepared to move indoors. I know it's a Friday night. We are tracking some shower and thunderstorm activity there. And then also real quick, just an update down into southern Ohio. We are tracking another cluster of thunderstorms with a lot of lightning and intense rain. Again, if you have our Bell Park Weather Network app, which is free to download right now in your Apple and Google Play stores, you're getting the notifications for this. Lots of rain and lightning, but again, right now, no really severe weather with this. Just some gusty winds, some downpours, and some lightning. You might find some large hail here to southern portions of Adams County right along the river, but in general, we're not looking at anything substantial when it comes to severe weather right now. Again, that risk comes a little bit later on tonight, and we are still tracking a lot of it. I'm not going to turn on the radar per se, but you can see where the thunderstorm action is right now. As you can see, lots of lightning up and down the entire state of Illinois, northeastern Iowa, southwestern Wisconsin. We still anticipate this to merge into a squall line as it works its way off towards the east. As we move through the rest of the night tonight, we expect it to fill in as well and pick up a little bit of intensity. A low-level jet in the atmosphere will kind of increase, and that should aid in the development of these thunderstorms to continue. Again, we still have some questions about instability. We have to have instability for thunderstorms to be allowed to be sustained long-term. Got a lot of wind shear. If you've been outside today, the winds have really picked up. It's been very breezy out there. That will allow for storms to at least continue on somewhat basis, but the question remains how long, and we'll kind of see how things evolve. But again, right now we do have one severe thunderstorm warning, again, capable of producing ping pong ball size hail, and I will say that it is worth noting, once we start getting hail to that magnitude, we're talking about the potential for cracked windshields, maybe some leaves to fall off of trees. If you have any flowers outside, those could be damaged. If you are out in advance of the storms, we're talking Goshen, Middlebury, Shipshewana, Elkhart, you have a couple minutes. I know it's thunderstorming right now, but if you have a chance, it might be a wise move to move your valuable items inside because, again, hail of ping pong ball size can really do some damage. Let's look at some of the reports that we are seeing so far. And yeah, there's actually been a slew of hail reports. Wow, a 2-inch hail report out of the St. Joseph County area. That is impressive. So this storm has actually been dropping some substantial hail Really interesting to see that that's what we are seeing falling out of the storm. So again, right now, large hail looking likely. We've had a report there, as you saw, of 2-inch hail. That was from a separate storm. But if we track this storm back southwest a little bit there towards La Paz, and we see that that particular hail report was right around 1 inch in diameter. Just to the north, again, 1.5 inches to an 1 3/4 inches, another 1.5 inches. So this storm definitely producing some ping pong ball sized hail and maybe even a few golf balls out there as well. That's 1.75 inches in diameter, just for reference. So again, right here near Wakarusa, moving off to the northeast, that'll be crossing the Indiana Toll Road and then eventually out of our coverage area as it crosses into southern Michigan. Not to be remissed a little bit here, and not to be forgotten about, but here in southern LaGrange County, this storm here, as it's packing a punch off moving to the northeast, likely seeing some fairly gusty winds with that, maybe on the order of 40 to 50 miles per hour. Again, this is where the Bell Park Weather Network app will come in great use for you. But again, so far this evening, a pretty good concentration of hail reports across northwestern and north central Indiana this evening, ranging from 1 inch to 2 inches in diameter. So that's enough to cause some damage. Once you start getting to 2 inches, you're definitely talking about broken windshields, maybe even some damage to your roof, and more substantial damage even beyond that. So again, if you live in northern Elkhart County, northwestern LaGrange County, move indoors. We now have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for portions of LaGrange and Steuben County. This is going to be the second thunderstorm. Kind of surprised that that polygon is where it is. However, at this point in time, the Weather Service has went ahead and elected to issue a new severe thunderstorm warning for LaGrange and Steuben counties here until 8 o'clock tonight. Storm moving off to the northeast at 70 miles per hour. If any of our other team members are watching, Owen or Tyler or anybody, I would like to know and make sure that our auto posting is working over on Ohio News and Weather, just to make sure. I'm trying to update and see. It is not. So if we can get those warnings posted, please. I'm actually going to message the team in case nobody's watching right now. Let's see here. Sorry about this. Just wanted to make sure we're all all in good standing there. But you also see the warnings here at the bottom of your ticker. This down here at the very bottom of your screen, that'll be scrolling with the updates, kind of watching things for you very closely. So again, right now we're watching 2 thunderstorms. Both are now warned for ping pong ball size hail, and they're moving very fast. So now for those of you in Angola and northeastern LaGrange County, we do need to kind of be on the lookout here. Orland, Angola, Fremont, and then up to Coldwater and even into Hillsdale in southern Michigan. This storm here, I will say, I'm not seeing as impressive of a hail core and a hail return with it, but nevertheless, the Weather Service has went ahead and warned it for the potential of ping pong ball size hail. And the reason why I said I'm a little confused with this polygon just a little bit is because it doesn't start until you're almost out of LaGrange County, but the storm itself is sitting here in between LaGrange and right around Shipshewana and to the north of Ligonier. So would not be surprised if maybe we see a secondary polygon issue perhaps. But again, move your vehicles indoors, get your valuable items away from the elements outside. The other thing to kind of point out when we start getting, and really any hail in general, but especially this size, you don't want to be outside trying to catch the hail or anything like that, because if you do have a ping pong falling down out of the sky at a pretty good clip and hit you in your noggin, that's not going to feel very good for you. So don't be outside in the elements, stay away from windows, because even with just a little bit of wind, you may see some cracked windows, some damaged siding even as we start getting from ping pongs and higher. So we need to kind of keep an eye on that as we continue to move on through the evening with these 2 storms. So again, if you're just now tuning in, 2 thunderstorms have our attention. First one here, southern LaGrange County. Second one, western Elkhart County. Both of these have the potential of producing damaging winds, maybe on the order of 50 miles per hour or less. And again, I say damaging just because the ground is so saturated, and now we're adding more rain on top of that, and you add in the frequent lightning, you could see some down branches in a couple of locations perhaps if those winds do pick up. I think the better wind threat is probably here in southern LaGrange County right now, if there were to be one. The bigger hail threat, I think, is back here in western Elkhart County at this point in time. So something that we'll continue to keep our eyes on as we continue to progress. Let's get a track on these storms for you as well, and understand that I'm going to have to lower the time on this because they're just moving so incredibly quickly. Let's track this storm here near LaGrange. We'll kind of track it as a line because it's a little bit more of a line segment type thunderstorm. We're going to track it right as the Weather Service says, off to the northeast at 70 miles per hour. So we're talking LaGrange at 742, Coldwater at 808. So really should be crossing out of our coverage area just after the 8 o'clock hour tonight. So something just to kind of keep in mind there. The other thunderstorm that has our attention is more of a hail threat, and let's track that off to the northeast here at about 65 to 70. So we're talking Dunlap at 746, Middlebury 755, White Pigeon at 802, and then moving into Sturgis, which is outside of our area there in southern Michigan at about 10 after the top of the hour. So those two storms right now have our attention, as you can see, for the potential of hail and even some strong gusty winds. And again, those winds may be just enough to bring down some tree branches. And also just kind of an educational moment here for you again. Look at this impressive storm over Lake Michigan. This is crossing into south central lower Michigan. Those of you towards Kalamazoo and even south of Grand Rapids there over to maybe Battle Creek may get hit with some of that activity. But that's interesting to see that kind of storm structure over Lake Michigan on the last day of March. Really impressive to see. So again, those are the two areas we're watching. It is also worth noting, again, the storm down here in Whitley and Allen County, Indiana, we are starting to see a little bit better of a hail return here, especially in Columbia City. That's moving right up towards Cherubusco, which sits right off the US 33, and then that should cross north of Huntertown into southern DeKalb County and southeastern Noble County. No warning on that right now, but we are starting to see some purple showing up, and anytime we see that, that is an indication of the potential for some large hail. Fort Wayne on the western sides of the city, so this is going to be north of Jefferson Point, north of Arcola. That'll be crossing through the northern suburbs of downtown up towards Huntertown, Leo, Cedarville, and Grable, just name a few locations. Again, not a ton of purple here, but enough to, it's a little bit concerning to say the least. So we'll watch and see how that progresses over the next little bit. We're watching that very closely as well. Again, the other thing to notice, we have a lot of lightning with these thunderstorms. As I zoom it out and kind of show you just our area in particular, over 500 strikes on just really these three areas. Obviously, one here in Fort Wayne, second one up here in LaGrange, third one here near Goshen. You can see all the lightning strikes on your screen there, and you can see the counter up there as well. Just over 500 lightning strikes, looks like about 530 really in the last 20 minutes. So frequent cloud ground lightning, the potential for large hail that could do some damage, and even some gusty winds through the rest of the evening hours tonight. I have to say that I feel like I am way behind on, yeah, let's see, this is not the latest scan. I know it's not. These storms have to be further along. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense. We are having some level 2 data issues, looks like. So let's go over to level 3 data. This is a lot better looking, I will say. I was getting a little bit concerned as to why the polygons were not were drawn where they were. So updated positioning on these storms for you. So really now, here into northern portions of Steuben County, it is worth noting out here, north of Angola, we're starting to see some purples popping up here. And the latest scan now takes it right up to Fremont, Indiana. That's going to be near the outlet malls up there. That's also going to be near to the north of US 20, where the Indiana Toll Road and I-69 meet. So you're likely seeing some large hail up there right now. We can actually also hover over the radar. Now look at that. That is saying 2-inch diameter hail there on the algorithm. And again, now sometimes those algorithms can be off just a little bit, right? So with that said, I still think that potential for 1 to 2-inch hail with this thunderstorm, not out of the question. That's about to cross into southeastern Branch County, which is here, and portions of southwestern Hillsdale County, which is back there. So a hailstorm is essentially falling right now, but again, frequent lightning is also being produced with some of these thunderstorms. Back to our other storm here in northwestern LaGrange County, right over Shipshewana, which is in Amish country, if you're not familiar with that, and just to the north of there, we're seeing some large hail popping up here again with those purple colors. And we can hover over the hail marker here, golf ball size hail potential. So we're going to hang with these at least until they exit the area this evening. That is definitely concerning. So we kind of have two areas where there could be damaging hail going on right now. And again, if you're out in advance of these storms, I know we don't cover Michigan per se, but Sturgis, if you have some time, maybe move your cars inside, get your valuables out of the elements, if you will. And then if you know anybody in Branch or Hillsdale County, again, large hail moving into southern Michigan from northern Indiana at this point in time. Let's see what storm. I really wish that we had level 2 data. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Let's see if we have. I think it's coming back. Maybe. It is not wanting to. So with that said, we'll keep it on the level 3 data for now. I'll work on something on the back side here. Let's see what storm Owen is referring to there. So again, let's go over to velocity real quick as well. Just so I wanted to kind of look at the winds. And so yeah, so we are seeing, so the stronger wind, as we kind of talked about earlier with that cell exiting out of LaGrange County, the stronger wind threat is going to be here in Steuben County. So again, just to the north of Angola, This right here is I-69. This is the Indiana Toll Road, and US 20 sits right here. The Fremont Outlet Malls sit pretty close to right in here, if I'm not mistaken. And there's the Nike Outlet Mall there as well. At least it's been a while since I've been up there, but that's what they had there at one point. You're seeing some of these brighter reds. Where we're seeing that, you can see the radar is depicting maybe some winds upwards of 50 or greater miles per hour. So that's going to be interesting to kind of watch over the next couple of scans, but it looks like a damaging wind threat could also be evolving with that particular storm. So again, north of Angola moving into Fremont, we're seeing not only a hail threat, but even a damaging wind threat. And you can almost kind of see a little bit of a bow or interesting storm structure on this latest scan there. So we'll have to watch and see how that develops as it moves into southeastern Michigan. Obviously, though, right now, once these storms move out of LaGrange and Steuben County, we can kind of go on about our evening for at least a little while longer. It is worth noting now that portions of west central Indiana and northwest Indiana are likely to be put under a tornado watch. Actually, I don't want to say likely on that. I've not had a chance to read the discussion, but we could see a new tornado watch issued soon for parts of central Indiana up into northwestern Indiana. So very interesting situation evolving this evening. As with some thunderstorms that are coming out of Illinois, you can kind of see the warning polygons there on your screen. So we'll watch and see how those evolve, but kind of bring you back to where our current warning situation is now. Again, we're still watching those two severe warned storms. And then if you're into portions of Defiance and Williams County, again, if you have our Bell Park Weather Network app, you've likely already gotten the notification on this. But a decent thunderstorm crossing north of Fort Wayne through Auburn, Grable and Leo Cedarville over to Hicksville. That moving into portions of Williams County here shortly. So again, just something to kind of note with you this evening that we're going to continue to see these thunderstorms kind of develop and evolve and move off to the northeast here over the next little while. So again, that's one thunderstorm, not severe at the moment. Up to the north, we do have two severe thunderstorm warnings that continue, both of which continue to show signs of, wow, really, that is an impressive return there. 3-inch hail being notated there on the radar as an algorithm. That is really, really concerning. Let's see if I can go back to level 2 data, see if I can get it back. For some reason, I don't know if we're just having some data feed issues or what exactly is going on there. But at any rate, we'll take you back to what we do have available for us, and that is level 3 data, which is good. So just as kind of a heads up for you, again, if you were in Fremont at this point, the radar algorithm is detecting, look at that, 3-inch diameter hail. That is unprecedented. We don't see that very often here in the Ohio Valley, but that'll be crossing out of our area shortly and into portions of Branch and Steuben County. I want to see if I can get, I'll have you guys bear with me for just a second. I'm going to step off and I'm going to restart the radar program here, so bear with me again for just a second. Screen's going to go black for just a minute here, and we're going to restart this. I want to make sure that we have everything good and good to go here. I'll make sure I have a backup set up for a little bit later on this evening, because I know sometimes things can happen. And let's see if we can get level 2 data to come back to us here. Not sure if we're going to get it back or not. All right, so there may be some issues now at this point with the Weather Service radar out of northern Indiana potentially. Maybe one of our team members can kind of let us know. Let's see if I can also kind of start one of our other radar programs here and kind of get an idea of what's going on. Again, we seem to be having some data feed issues. Okay, let's try this one instead. Again, still tracking 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, Elkhart and LaGrange, and then also in portions of Steuben County as well. I'm going to find out here real quick. Okay, so I think we do have level 2 data back. Okay, we do. So let's switch sources here real quick. There we go. All right, so we're going to change gears here just a little bit. I apologize about that, but I did want to kind of show you. Sorry, I changed it on the wrong monitor. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so again, we do have level 2 data back with us here. And we get you some much better low-level scan look at things. Again, right over Fremont, look at that. That is destructive hail likely falling right now in the city of Fremont. And that's going to be moving here towards Clear Lake in the next few minutes. Again, right there, that's the Indiana Toll Road. That is I-69. This is the Ohio-Indiana border. Or sorry, the Indiana-Michigan border. The Ohio-Indiana border is just kind of back there behind me. But this will be moving out of our coverage area here in just a few minutes. But again, a severe thunderstorm, and that's this yellow box that you see here. They've just trimmed it back. And I want to see what they have elected to kind of do in terms of the hail size with that. Again, that looks, okay, they've went ahead and upgraded now the Steuben County storm to considerable, which tells me we likely have hail of at least 2 inches in diameter, likely with this particular storm. And again, we've been watching it over the last few minutes, really showing some dangerous looking returns on radar. Yeah, we're definitely seeing, if we're not seeing 2-inch hail falling, I would be really surprised about this. They do have it now at 1.75-inch diameter hail, so that's golf ball size, and they've also increased the wind on this, and that's no surprise either. Let's go over to velocity for just a minute, and you're going to see we are now seeing an enhanced return of wind here into the Fremont. I'm going to step to the other side here for just a moment. But again, right up here into portions of Fremont, you can see those yellows on the screen here. That's where we're seeing those winds that could be easily exceeding 60 miles per hour. And anytime we see that, again, trees can come down, power lines can come down, and you add in the fact that we have hail falling up here as well. Now you're talking about wind-driven hail, and that can obviously do some serious damage to siding and other things. So make sure that you are indoors and away from windows. If you live in southeastern Branch County or even up into Hillsdale, do not try to go outside in the storm at all. And this storm is almost out of our area. Radar algorithm continuing to detect 2+ inch hail possibly. I do have our storm reports on, but so far, no reports have been coming in out of Steuben County. And this is an area that is very popular with storm spotters, and also the EMA is very good here. So as soon as we know something, I'm sure our team will let us know what's going on. Let's go over correlation coefficient for just a moment here. Oh, sorry, wrong product. Let's go to correlation coefficient. Yeah, so couple education moments here for us, okay? Number one, we can see what's called a 3-body scatter spike. So as the radar beam shoots through the storm, it's actually depicting so much of that large hail that's actually kind of scattering those returns way up and away from the thunderstorm, well up into Hillsdale County. You can see there. So these kind of, you can almost pick out the angle here a little bit. That is actually hail being detected on correlation coefficient. And then this spot right here near Montgomery, Michigan, and just to the south of there towards Clear Lake, that spot is where we're seeing the hail being picked up on correlation coefficient. Again, those drop-offs there, those yellows and greens, that's those returns of large hail that we are seeing. The returns of reds that you see, this is more predominantly rain and maybe some smaller hail, but it's obviously that spot there right over Clear Lake and just to the north, there towards, Montgomery and Camden, that we are seeing not only the gusty winds, but you can see again those deep purples. We'll give it another just a couple minutes and we'll probably be able to wrap this up for the time being. But again, if you're right around Clear Lake and moving off to the northeast towards Camden, Hillsdale, Montgomery, considerable severe thunderstorm warning. That means we're seeing hail of golf ball size or larger, and the warning is for golf ball size hail and winds to 60 miles per hour. Not to be forgotten, storm back to the west north of Shipshewana. This one here is interesting just with the overall look to it, but we're not really in an environment here for tornadoes per se, more of hail and wind in this part right now. And then just to the northeast of Shipshewana, that is the storm that prompted the warning, so that's going to continue to move away, and that storm really is no longer an issue for us, but it's obviously the storm in Steuben County that has our attention. Some very heavy rain and gusty thunderstorms just to the south of our severe thunderstorm warning here, moving across Edgerton up to Montpelier and Bryan. That's not severe. Again, this guy up here is severe, though, and again, we have that potential of where we could be seeing that hail of 2 inches in diameter or greater based on the radar algorithm. The warning is for golf ball size hail, but folks, we don't see these colors very often. When we see that, that's a very good indicator of large hail, and again, could be 1-2 inches in diameter. That's enough to do some damage as we continue to move forward in time. So the good news is too, and Owen just pointed this out, the storm is moving at 70 miles an hour. So as quick as this comes in, it's racing so quickly off to the northeast that as quick as the hail starts, it's going to stop. But obviously with those winds at even 50 to 60 miles per hour, you talk about blowing golf ball size hail. That's why we talked about the wind-driven hail potential with that. That's why we are concerned about maybe some broken windshields, maybe some tree branches. Some of your gardens could, if you have any flowers out, you could see the flowers destroyed. And that type of damage may be very common as we continue to move forward here this evening. So with that said, now all of our severe thunderstorms are moving out of the area. I'll put the radar into motion just so you can kind of see the progression here this evening across northeastern Indiana, and then we're going to wrap things up for the time being. Again, very large hail falling in southeastern Michigan now, but as we continue to move forward in time this evening, we should kind of be in a little bit more of a relative type lull, or a little bit of a break, if you will, of severe thunderstorm activity. Going to recenter the radar just a little bit for us. So we don't really expect much more in the way of severe activity. Obviously, this is moving away from the area. Might see an isolated gusty wind here, report here or there across parts of Williams, Fulton, Henry, and Defiance counties, say over the next 15 minutes to 45 minutes or so. But after that, then obviously our attention will kind of turn to what's going on back across the west. And we'll watch and see if that line of storms across Illinois continues to move in. And we'll come back live as needed here for more updates. So for our entire team, I'm forecaster Nick Dunn reporting. Stay safe and stay tuned. And remember, if you haven't already, be sure that you download our Bell Park Weather Network app. It is free in the Google and Apple Play stores. Have a good evening, everybody, and stay tuned for more updates.